And then, of course, what are some of the strategies to research ways to improve performance of GraphQL queries? That's a good question to ask at this point because we've done quite a few queries. And if we look back, let's look back at our history here. I think, yeah, there's this one. This one's going to break because there is no more name. It's just cheese. There we go. So we ran that. And there's Dave in there too. Dave has no address. And if we go to, let's see here. I think the best way to show this would be, well, yeah, one of the best ways to show this is you go to Analyze, and right there, you have your SQL statement and what's happening in your SQL statement. So kind of the core of it is right here. Here's your cheese and your addresses, right? So what it's doing is it's kind of creating its own JSONified denormalized structure here to select and then do the join, as you can see here, left outer join lateral, gets addresses. And it's kind of a bit of a query, but you have the query, and that gives you an awesome power to really gain insight into what the database is doing for your GraphQL query. Then below that is the execution plan of the database. So when the database runs your query, it creates an execution plan and then acts accordingly to get the data from the tables. In the execution plan, as you can see, you get an aggregate, nested loop, left join. Then there's a sequence scan on user, an aggregate of that, a sequence scan on addresses based on a filter, which that's the part that you don't see in the GraphQL because it's inherent to the graph nature of the structure and that relationship. So user table with ID is related to user ID, primary key to foreign key. Then we have subplan 2 there with the result, and then subplan 1, which is the overall result. And that shows the cost and what you get back from those different scans. So like in this case, addresses, 4 rows. That's kind of weird. So there's different things you can look at here and determine, like here, this cost is pretty high. This cost, the overall cost, then this cost, that's pretty low, 0 to 21, etc. So you can look through here and get an initial starting point to sleuth into your query and see what's actually happening at the database tier to get that data that you need back for your GraphQL query. Yes. When I first saw this, I was so happy to see that it's in the Hasura interface, that I don't have to dig into the SQL database itself to find the SQL query, because as you probably know, that could take quite some time when you have to go between the interfaces, between the things to then go run queries and then all this other stuff. So it's really nice that that's available immediately in the workspace in Hasura. It just lights a fire in the local development of anything that you're doing to have all that information right there immediately available. So very, very, very powerful and very cool.